Okay, so here we are with something I've been looking forward to a while, and this is my first figure that I've bought in this series, and this is Action Force Sergeant Slaughter from Valaverse Toys. This is made by a gentleman, I believe his name is Bobby Vala, and he worked for Hasbro, apparently, and now he's on his own, making his own toys, and he bought the Action Force name or licensed it or you know sniped it or something. I don't know how he got it, but yeah, he's gonna be making toys under the Action Force name, and this is actually from the second series. I ordered the first wave on a certain toy online retailer that I don't want to name them because I don't want to sound like I'm talking smack about them right now. But they're not so bad, but they are a big toy store. But yeah, I pre-ordered like some of the earlier figures in the line. And my beard is all crooked. I just woke up, so I kind of slept on it wrong, I guess. Where's my brush? I thought I had a brush around here somewhere. Brush out my beard a little bit. That's a nice professional thing to do, right? Let's try to get that looking a little better real quick. That's fine. That looks way better, right? It looks way better now. Okay, so yeah, what had happened is, there's like this whole worldwide shipping crisis or something. You might have heard about it. So all the stuff that I'd ordered from this big toy store, that's not bad. Uh, they it's all stuck on a dock somewhere apparently, and has been for like several weeks now. So I don't know when it's actually gonna get to me. But this was one of the figures that I'd had pre-ordered from them. I had a few of the figures, some of the kind of basic blank ones, and some accessories kits. And I definitely wanted to get the Sergeant Slaughter character because I wanted him to go with my GI Joes. So I'd pre-ordered the version 1 Sergeant Slaughter, and this is the one I was actually more looking forward to because this looked a little more like the character as he appeared in the old GI Joe. And still waiting on those, but I'd heard that Dorkside Toys had some available, so I went ahead and ordered me a version 2. And I've still got the other one that I had on pre-order, and I'm probably still going to get that because I think he'll probably be good for some customs. But I'm going to open the tape there. I'm about to open it, but we should probably have a look at this packaging first. So you see it's got this nice Action Force logo with this kind of metal sort of texture to it. It looks very cool. Sergeant Slaughter in a font that looks very familiar to an old school toy fan like me. We know what font that is. And then it says on the back, or on this side, I'm sorry, it says Sergeant Slaughter 0206. So, Series 2? Figure 6? I don't know what that means. And then on the other side, we got the Action Force logo, and that's the, I guess, the Action Force emblem. So it says Valaverse Toys down there with like a green V. So that's the logo of the company. We got action points, kind of similar to the old flag points. Cut and save action points for future promotions. And he has two action points. I'm sorry for anybody who was in England. I wasn't trying to flip you off. And then it says follow Valaverse on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which I believe I already follow them on Instagram and YouTube. I don't remember if I follow them on Facebook or not. I think I do. And then on the back here, we've got, I guess this is other figures from Wave 2, I believe. So we got Rollout, Trigger, Duster, Scarab, and Garrison Cavalry. So I think there's a few different bad guy factions to this line. So you have the Hive, which that's what the Scarab is from, and Garrison Cavalry. So I haven't read the comic book yet. There's already a comic book. But I think that I know it's different factions. I think some of them are bad guys, and some Action Force is obviously the good guys. So I'm not sure. Like the Hive, I'm pretty sure is bad guys. I'm not sure about the Garrison. But let's see here. You got a file card on the back, which Hasbro. Look at that! It's a whole file card with a bio on the guy, and they don't have to bother with translating it several times. Don't come at me with how they need to have different languages on there because they're going to sell it in different markets. I've already explained how they can very cheaply, do it so they can have different languages on different cards for different countries. But whatever. Oh, hey, look, you can see some of the custom stuff I'm working on, like over here. So I just noticed that. So anyway, well, let's go ahead and read through this file card. Sergeant Slaughter, file name classified, primary MOS 18A, Special Forces team leader. Secondary skills X8 drill sergeant, birthplace classified. I believe he was born on Paris Island. Come on. Technically, I guess his file name should be Bob Remus, but whatever. We'll let that slide. Every soldier has stories about their drill sergeants from basic training, but few can compare the claims of a 6'2", 240-pound giant known as Sergeant Slaughter. Now retired, Sergeant Slaughter began his military career as a Special Forces team sergeant, leading classified operations in the early 80s. At some point in his career, Slaughter left the teams to become a drill sergeant at Fort Benning, where he pummeled young recruits into the ground day and night. It's what earned him the nickname Sergeant Slaughter. It didn't matter to him who the recruits were or where they were from. He treated them all alike and turned them all into real soldiers. After Benning, Slaughter retired and was recalled to serve as a special tactics instructor to a special missions unit within the U.S. military, where he served until 1994. Gee, I wonder what that was. When the nation collapsed, Sergeant Slaughter was pegged again to serve as an advisor to an all-new special missions unit called Action Force, where he then passed on his experience and knowledge from the days of the teams. Slaughter may be well known, but his true identity is not. But that won't stop any enemies from hunting him down. For Sergeant Slaughter, the real fight has just begun. So yeah, it's really cool that I have a file card that tells me a lot about this character. And in fact, it makes reference to him, being with the G.I. Joe team in the 80s. So that's kind of neat. I kind of have this idea in my head that the Sergeant Slaughter we see in G.I. Joe cartoons and comics and such wasn't the same guy necessarily that existed in real life as a professional wrestler, but rather was a fictitious character based on that real person. And they might share some similarities here and there, but, obviously he wasn't the same. He wasn't in the G.I. Joe team because the G.I. Joe team didn't really exist, But I do have like a headcanon thing where it says he served with them until 1994. And this is probably what causes retirement. This is my headcanon, is that remember that storyline where Sergeant Slaughter became an Iraqi sympathizer during Desert Storm? It wasn't very well thought out. I don't know why they did it, but in my mind, what really happened was that Sergeant Slaughter was captured by Cobra, and they put him into the brainwave scanner, and they implanted all this Iraqi sympathizer stuff into his head, to embarrass the G.I. Joe team. And eventually he recovered from it, but the trauma was pretty great to him, so that was why he retired. Anyway, let's go ahead and open this up. Except for Desert Storm ended, like, you know, a few years, I think, before 1994, I believe. So, that means that, I'm just recalling off the top of my head. So that means what would happen is that he would have probably still served with G.I. Joe for a few years after that, but, you know, much like Frodo, he was kind of broken by that point and just couldn't, those wounds would not heal. But eventually, apparently they did, because now he's in Action Force. Or at least in whatever parallel universe this takes place in. So I took the tray out, and there's another kind of lid on here. This is why I was having a hard time getting a good picture where you could actually see that there was a figure inside, is because there's this tray, and then there's this extra bit of protective film on here. This is all very collector-friendly plastic, but I think I'm going to throw this part away, because that just seems like that's going to be a little too much for me to fool with in the future, so it's not going to be mint and complete anymore because I threw away. But look at all the stuff he comes with, and there was so much stuff they couldn't even fit it all on the tray. They had to put some in this little baggie too. But look at that, he's loaded with accessories and different hands, and 2 different hats, and a pair of sunglasses, and oh, we're going to get into all this. But first things first, I'm going to pull out all these little tiny hands. There are lots of little tiny hands, and maybe too many tiny hands. So this is a gripping hand, but with no trigger finger on it. So that'd be a good hand to hold like a knife or something like that. And then this hand is one where like a rifle can rest in it. Or, you know, he could be handing some candy to one of his fellow soldiers. So, and then, of course, you got a nice solid fist there for socking Cobra bats on the jaw, or Hive troopers, since he's doing that now. So, 1 fist for each wrist. And we got another one of these hands that's resting. The shape of this kind of reminds me of like a Mego hand that would go on Mego figures. Not amigo as in Spanish for friend, although Migos were friends for me growing up. So there we go. There's another one of these kind of knife-holding hands. And since he's Sergeant Slaughter, he gets a special hand so he can point at you and reprimand you. Just like that. At ease, disease! So, yeah, so that's all those hands. We have a very cool figure stand with the Action Force logo and some diamond plate on it. And it looks like there's a notch at the top. And I'm betting that's designed so you can, when you cut out the file card, you can stick the file card in that as part of your display. Which I might actually do, since that's something you can do. And then we have a massive hand cannon. It's absolutely gigantic. And then, let's see, we got, I thought this was a piece of tape holding it in, but it seems like it's the same sort of stuff that that plastic sheet was made out of I was talking about. It reminds me of Color Forms, but it's nowhere near as thick and doesn't seem as sturdy as Color Forms would be, but it's probably not meant to be, so that's fine. So we have a pair of sunglasses. I'd seen another review where they were talking about how they didn't like these sunglasses because they were flimsy and didn't really stay on very well, but I'm probably going to wind up just gluing mine on anyway. So I don't really care if they're flimsy or not. And then we have what's probably going to be like his main weapon is this grenade launcher. And that is pretty slick. The plastic seems very firm. It's got like a little bit of give to it, but it's seems like a solid plastic. It reminds me of like the type of plastic they use to make Marauder Task Force weapons. So hopefully this won't be too brittle either, like at this scale. I haven't actually, like I said, this is my first one of these figures, so I don't have a lot of experience with it. I'm just, you know, handling it for the first time, so hopefully that'll be good. And then we have this Marine utility cover, which, since I'm probably not going to use it on Sergeant Slaughter, I got this guy, and I think it'll look pretty good on him, so let's try that out. And you can see already on my gung-ho, I have replaced the tattoo that Hasbro put on there with a proper Marine Corps logo. Let's see how this hat looks on him. Yeah. That is not bad. So there we go. So he's gonna wear that hat for now. I know that Hasbro is gonna come out with a vintage card version of Classified Gung-Ho that's gonna be a lot closer to the original. But for now, and it fits on there really well too. Look how snug that is. That is nice. So, some of the accessory sets that I've got on pre-order from that big toy store that is not bad. Not trying to talk bad about them. They're going to come with these utility covers. So I'm going to have extras of these for customs. I'm very excited about that. So let's see. We got the sunglasses out. We got the revolver out. We got the grenade launcher out. We got the extra hat out. So let's go ahead and get Sergeant Slaughter out of here. And there he is, looking pretty badass. But as I pointed out, that's not the only accessories we got. We also have this little baggie over here. So let's open up the little baggie and see what else we got in there. And it is a Ziploc baggie, which is what I like to have my accessories in, not like a baggie that's all taped up. And I'm having to struggle with paint. So we got a vest, and this is the same jacket that would have come with the version 1, except for that one had solid shirt sleeves, so it made it like a whole jacket, but this is just the vest portion of it. And then we also have a backpack with a peg that hopefully will peg firmly into his back. And it's a modern military-style backpack with these straps. So he could, in theory, attach stuff to him like grenades or whatever, but obviously they're just molded solid into the pack, so I don't know if you can really do that. It's a rather ordinary looking backpack. Excuse me, like I said, I just woke up. It's a rather ordinary looking backpack, but it's still really cool, and it's like, Sarge to me seems like a no-frills kind of guy, so it's not like he's gonna necessarily need to have, you know, a lot of fancy stuff. Like, to me, all these accessories he came with, this is great, I love it, but, you know, it's, the first one came with a revolver and a knife, and I think most people were happy with that. I wish this one came with that knife, because that knife looked really cool, but it doesn't. It comes with a pouch on the leg. This nice thick pouch. So, and the backpack also has a strap at the top here. I wonder if you can hold on to that at all. Actually, let's try to put it in one of these knife-holding hands, as I like to call it. What I've decided is going to be called a knife-holding hand. If I can slide the... Yeah, it's got like a... I don't know if the figures are going to fit into that handle. But it's got a handle there, so you can carry it like that if you want to. However you want to display it. So, you know me, I like having different display options. So the last accessory that we haven't really looked at too much is his hat, which is already on his head. And it's stayed on his head throughout all this, so I'm guessing it's going to stay on there pretty snugly. But let's go ahead and take out the hat, and then it looks kind of like Popeye, but with a mustache. You can see that he's completely bald, which the original G.I. Joe version of Sergeant Slaughter was not, because that was the 80s. But this is supposed to be an older version, so, you know, he is completely bald now in real life. But I don't think Bob Remus was ever as ripped as this guy, because you can, like, see he's all chiseled and sinewy. And let's go ahead and do a size comparison with some G.I. Joe figures, since I happen to have some handy. And Height-wise, he's not quite as tall as Gung Ho, and muscle-wise, he's not quite as muscular as Gung Ho. So I think they probably could have made him a little larger. But, I figure this is more of a standard buck, and that's why that is. Next to Duke, who I figure is like, probably like what you consider like an average Joe, no pun intended. We can see that, he's a little bit bigger than Duke, but not like he's like maybe about the same height and a little bit more muscular, I think, but not a whole lot. So maybe he's not quite as muscular as you might want Sergeant Slaughter to be, but I still think he's sufficiently muscular, and he'll look pretty badass on the shelf. So, I think I'm about to sneeze. So if I sneeze, don't be surprised. It's going to be a big sneeze. I sneeze big. So, but I'm going to try to soldier on with this review, because I don't want to go out of here in an itty-bitty ditty bag. So let's have a look at the articulation, and I haven't really, like I said, this is my first Valaverse figure at all, and my first Action Force figure, so I want to have a look at the articulation. Let's take the web gear off, first of all. Well, let's look at the web gear first. So you got 3 pouches in the back, 2 big old pouches in the front. Let's see how it looks with the backpack. Go ahead and plug that backpack into this backpack hole, and looks pretty good, all things considered. This is probably, if I was going to display him with the backpack, I'd probably wind up displaying him with this. Even though the pouch does kind of make it stick out a little bit more at the back, and you got this open area there. But, I'm kind of particular in that if I want a character to have a backpack, I want him to have backpack straps, so it looks like, it's not just kind of attached to his back by magic or something. Unless it's Big Brawler, because Big Brawler does attach his backpack to his back with magic. So we'll go ahead and take the backpack off now, and then I'm going to take off this web gear, so let's see how we do that. Because I figure, unlike the Hasbro figures, there's probably some way to unfasten it here. Yep, this pouch here, that's what covers up your opening for your web gear. So we'll go ahead and peel that off of there, because I just want to look at the figure unencumbered. And it's an impressive looking figure. The sculpting is really good, and like I said, he's really ripped and sinewy, unlike the real Sergeant Slaughter, who, like, I don't want to cast aspersions on the man. He was a very powerful looking man, but not necessarily like ripped and cut, you know what I mean? He was more like an Olympic power lifter, where he was he had a physique that was made for just sheer brute strength. And and I'm not complaining. This is not a criticism when I point this out. I understand and agree with why they would give him such a ripped, cut physique, because it makes for an impressive looking action figure. Like I said, I don't consider it to be the same guy necessarily. It's a different guy. It's a different universe. So, there never was a G.I. Joe team, and Civilization has not collapsed. So, I want to have a look at the articulation now, and the types of plastic used. This seems like styrene kind of plastic on the torso, softer kind of plastics for the arms. I know that the first wave of these figures had a really hard time with the joints being really stiff, and supposedly they've corrected this problem with the newer figures, and it looks to me like they have, because these joints seem to be moving with absolutely no problem, and moving beautifully. So there we go, we got that. Nice combat boots, the rocker ankles. Those should rock. They do. Alright, so let's have a look at the articulation in earnest. We got the head goes up and down like that. I'm going to pop the head off real quick. It is on a joint that goes back and forth this way, and then the head just kind of pops onto the ball joint, like so. So that will give us a whole lot of different ways that we can pose Sarge's head. We got the butterfly joints at the elbows. or the shoulders, sorry. Those do seem like they are a little stiff, but they're going to work out just fine. But they're moving, they're not stuck. So then we got arms that go all the way around, and they go up about that far, they go down about that far. Bicep rotates all the way around. Got the double joints at the elbows, so he's going to be able to put other action figures into the Cobra clutch, so that's good. So then, like butterfly joints go in far enough that he can touch his hands together. So I will look forward to having some ninja type figures that I can make with these, because that's a good butterfly joint there. Oh, I can make some good stuff. So he does not have like the G.I. Joe kind of hinge here at the top. It's more of a ball jointy kind of thing. Like not like a G.I. Joe Classified, but like 25th anniversary, where it's this joint that's just under the rib cage and moves all the way around like that. And then he also has like this type of joint down here at the waist, which is like a G.I. Joe Classified, where it's like a ball jointed, or like a Marauders Task Force. So you're going to have a lot of range of motion there in the waist, so that's good. Legs go up about that far, and out about that far. You can do the splits, no problem. So there we go. And then double jointed knees. So those are a little bit stiff, but they're moving, so that's good. Yeah, you get about that much movement there. There is a boot cut, I think. Yep, there we go. I expected that to be a little stiff because of the paint, but thankfully it came out just fine. And then again, the ankles, got the rocker ankles, and those are a little bit stiff, but I think they should work out just fine. So I didn't need to heat this figure at all. But again, never force a joint. Anytime you feel like that joint is stiff, you apply heat to it. Like dip it in some warm water, maybe even some boiling water if you have to. Use a hair dryer. That's my preferred method, because that way I don't have to deal with like the figure dripping water all over the place. Sometimes when you dip them in the water, it gets all in the figure and you'll be dripping water for days. But no, like you just use a hair dryer and it works a lot better. So yeah, let's go ahead and gear this guy up with some accessories and see what he looks like. Now, one of the things that I thought was kind of funny about this figure when I was looking it over is he does come with this vest, which we're going to put on him right now, and that is a pliable yet still somewhat stiff plastic. I kind of feel like they probably could have made it a little more pliable, but whatever, it still works pretty well. So we got this vest that we got to put on him, and then I'll steal it back from Gung Ho again real quick. We got the utility cover that we can pop on there, and it's a little stretched out now, I think, from being on Gung Ho's big old noggin, but it still fits on Sarge just fine. So, and the hands, it's got the same sort of problem like Hasbro has, where like these hands are a little rigid to fit the weapons in there, and I knocked the hat off. But they could be a little bit softer. But it's kind of a double-edged sword. So like I complain about it, but once you get the weapon in there, he's not going to drop it. So that's a good thing. So, it's sorry, I'm getting the hat back. It seems like something I'm complaining about, but it's just something that I kind of complain about while I'm putting the weapon in the hand. And then once I have the weapon in the hand, I don't complain about it anymore, because I got the weapon in the hand and it ain't gonna fall out. So that's good. So anyway, yeah. So it occurred to me when I was looking it over, is like this is almost kind of like a stealth Gung Ho action figure, in addition to being a Sergeant Slaughter action figure. And in fact, I could see somebody like buying this and just like I'm probably just gonna keep this hat on Gung Ho for now. But yeah, I could see somebody just buying this and making a Gung Ho figure. Now, granted, he's got a tank top, so you can't exactly have him displaying his Marine Corps tattoo. But like I said, the classified figure didn't have a Marine Corps tattoo, so would you rather him have the wrong tattoo, or would you rather him have a tank top? Personally, I would rather order a tattoo decal from Bad Mother Tattoos on eBay. So there's a free plug for them. If anybody's watching this and hasn't heard about Bad Mother Tattoos, go there and get yourself your gung ho tattoo. But yeah, so that makes for a pretty decent, quick and dirty gung ho custom. If someone were so inclined to make one, we're gonna take the grenade launcher out of his hand. You saw how well he held that though, and getting it out was a lot easier than getting it in. So while I got this hand stretched out a little bit, let's go ahead and put the revolver in his hand. This massive, massive revolver. Look how huge that thing is. Look at it next to his forearm. It's like practically the same length of his whole arm. It's gigantic. So yeah, he holds that just fine. Nice, good grip on there. So let's go ahead and take that back out of his hand again because it can go into this holster. So I want to see how well it goes into the holster. And fits nice and snugly in there. You can see this is supposed to be like a quick release holster. So like the top of the weapon is exposed, but it still wedges firmly in here. The tip of the barrel goes into the holster. It's not open at the bottom. It fits in there just fine. But it fits in there nice and snugly, and that's a good holster. So good job on that. So let's go ahead and take this vest off again. Okay, and the vest does have a hole in the back, so you can have him wear the backpack with the vest. But like I said, I don't like to do that when there's not straps. I don't like to have a backpack without straps. Like sometimes if it's like a flak vest looking thing and you've got enough like straps on it, like the classified gung ho, like I could kind of look at that and be like, yeah, maybe he could have a backpack attached to that. Duke here had a backpack, and just like with the original Duke, by the way, that's a gun from Gridiron Studios. If anybody's interested, I guess you're just supposed to assume that the backpack is held by the bandolier. So I don't know how realistic that is, but it was good enough for us in 1984. So yeah. What I want to do right now is go ahead and we're gonna put the sunglasses on him. And like I said, I was watching another video where they said that these sunglasses didn't stay on him very well because the plastic is really soft. Apparently, like the version 1 is like a stiff enough plastic that it kind of tensions onto his head pretty well. That's what he looks like with the sunglasses on. But this new plastic is so soft it doesn't want to grip the head the same way. That's okay for me. I don't mind because I'm going to wind up gluing the glasses on because I don't want to lose them. So I'd rather just glue the glasses on and not have to worry about it anymore. But, I mean, if you wanted the glasses to be removable, I can see how that would be a major issue. So this hat, I was told, doesn't have a front or a back. It can just go on either way. And I'm looking it over just to be sure of that. Let's go ahead and put the hat on. I kind of suspect maybe once you get the hat on his head, then it might, doesn't seem to want to. It was on there really good, you remember, when I opened the package, but now I can't seem to get it back on there right. Maybe I'll wind up gluing his hat on, too. And there went the glasses. I'll just set those aside for right now. So I'm going to try this hat on the other way. And it actually does seem to go on better the other way. I don't know what I did differently or if it actually is any kind of difference. And this hat is a much stiffer plastic than what you would expect. So, anyway, let's see if we can get the glasses on. I really want to try to get the glasses and the hat on just for a little bit, just so we can see what it looks like. Just so I can show you out there. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going to keep them that way because I'm going to wind up gluing these glasses on. So, but I would like to show you, the viewers, what he looks like with the glasses and the hat on. because that is the classic look of Sergeant Slaughter. That's what we think of this figure, this character, as looking like. Now he does have black lenses, and I'm thinking of like that the at least the version 1 or version 2 Sergeant Slaughter. I didn't have the mail away one. I had the one that came with the Triple T tank, but I remember him as having silver lenses in the glasses, so I might wind up repainting those. But that's pretty much how I'm going to display Sergeant Slaughter. He's going to look as close to what I remember him looking like in the 80s as I can get him. I might even paint some hair around the sides of his head. I haven't decided yet. So, Eddie's disease! That works pretty well. So, I'm going to take off the hat and the glasses because I don't want to lose any parts. I'm going to put the glasses on top of the figure stand there because I want to see how well these hands work. And I'm not heating them up, I'm just pulling them out. And when you pull out the hands, like I always point out, try to pinch it where the disc is. Like sandwich the plastic where it's like, you see where the joint is, so it's like hand, disc, hand. You get what I'm saying right there at the wrist? And I'm not gonna try every single one of these hands in because there's a whole lot of hands. But I do want to put that pointy finger in there because I really want to see him point. Telling some people off. You're here because your industrial strength foul up! Something tells me in real life, Sergeant would not have used the word foul. But yeah, this is a really good figure. It was definitely worth the wait. I'm glad I have it now. For whatever reason, Hasbro just is reluctant to license Sergeant Slaughter again for G.I. Joe. I don't know why, but I don't know if it's that they don't want the money or they don't want the hassle with WWE, or if there's bad blood between Bob Remus, the real life guy who plays Sergeant Slaughter. That's his wrestling name. But at least somebody was able to make us a nice 6-inch scale Sergeant Slaughter that we can display with our G.I. Joes or display them with the rest of Action Force. Because, I'm sure, with as well as that line's been selling and as excited as people are about that line on online, it's that line is going to have, a nice, strong fan base that's going to be able to support it, aside from being just, something to supplement your G.I. Joe classified figures. It doesn't necessarily need to be that. So what I might do also is I might consider getting another one of those sets that you use to make rock and roll that Gridiron Studios makes, and giving him that M60 and one of the ammo belts, because that would match up with how he was in the Marvel Comics when they did that. But I don't know, it's just something I'm thinking about. I think he'd look good with some kind of machine gun or something. He doesn't look bad with the grenade launcher, but like I said, grenade launchers are just more of a gung-ho kind of thing. And I might wind up giving my gung-ho figure this grenade launcher. I haven't decided yet. But that's the great thing about action figures, is they can be whatever you really want them to be, and, if you don't like them, you can change them. You can always do something new with them. I'm working on a lot of stuff over here. This is eventually going to be Joaquin Phoenix Joker. I'm painting on that. This is Hopper, I think was the character's name from Fortnite. So I'm going to order ahead for him this Friday. And, it's got a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, I definitely recommend this to anybody who's a fan of modern military action figures in general, or G.I. Joe fans, or somebody who's just interested in this Valaverse world that they're building, this kind of post-apocalyptic storyline. So I'm intrigued by it. I just haven't had a chance to read the comics yet, but apparently they're going to do a trade paperback of all of them, so I might wind up picking that up. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. I've gone on for a really long time talking about this figure, but there was a lot on here that was, worth talking about. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and all the YouTube stuff down below. We can talk a little bit about Sergeant Slaughter in the comments below. So please, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And that's pretty much it. I'm done. And oh yeah, this is probably going to be the only video I do this week because I didn't really buy a whole lot of stuff this week. I had, money was kind of tight. I had to pay the rent. So yeah, hopefully I'll have some more stuff for you this week. And I'm also finally caught up on my backlog of videos. So yeah, this is one I'm going to put up today, and it's one that I just shot today. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.